there was some talk about there will be a hike in trash fees. As a resident and homeowner, bulk pickup is something that is it's transition, like even going back to Mayor Kilpatrick days. It's like, once a month they take it away, they bring it back, how it happens, where it works. Bulk pickup in the city of Detroit is something. And when you're a person such as me, meaning that my property footprint, I also am off a service drive and I'm at the corner, so that means that, you know almost like every time I look up, somebody's like dumping something illegally on my grounds. And certain people are getting tickets for illegal dumping now, because that's something that the city's pursuing a whole lot more, which I understand, but it's sometimes tough because it's like, what am I supposed to do? Even if I were to catch the person, you know what I'm saying? Am I supposed to go out there with a strap like, hey man, stop throwing tires over here? You know what I mean? It's certain spaces and places. And I personally think that some of this illegal dumping in the city of Detroit ain't from Detroit residents either. I think it's some contracting that goes on outside and they just feel like landfill costs, let's go to the city of Detroit. There are some I have delivered actually to East Davidson, one of the lots that you can pay per pound, I think per ton, to drop off some trash, because I've done that before. And this is what's so crazy. The last time I did that, I took so much trash off the side of my house, took it down there through East Davidson, and then 2 days later, people dumped it again. And Scott Benson was speaking to this, I know I'm stepping on the whole idea of the story and what the rate hike will be, but I'm just talking about sometimes the frustration of trash in home ownership, especially if you had a corner house or or like a lot where people just feel like, hey, it's a free for all, And also bulk pickup has transitioned from, like, I want to say it's like a cubic yard, where it's like, damn, I feel like I gotta be in physics class, like, what the hell is a cubic yard? You know what I'm saying? And what they will pick up, what they won't pick up. It's definitely transitioned from what was, especially as this as our trash is privatized now, and what they won't pick up. It can be frustrating as a homeowner of what goes, when it goes, how it works, talking to the people, catching the truck, especially days like this where so much snow, slush, and ice or wintry mix outside. It can be frustrating. As frustrating as Scott Benson's story that was like hilarious as ever, where he said he mentioned in council that he is driving through the neighborhood and he sees somebody throw some weave outside the window, and he follows them past 8 Mile, which is very brazen. So I thought that, I was like, boy, this is so classic. And I just know, like, sometimes you just get this frustrated with how people can treat the city. But all of that soliloquy, I had to add that in my layers and contextualization of what you deal sometimes with the illegal dumping, bulk pickup, and trash pickup, and knowing how it works.
I think that's actually like pretty key to what we're talking about here. That people are going to be asked. So basically, the city is looking at some new garbage contracts that would increase service. It would make weekly pickup of bulk trash and recycling, curbside pickup, and alleyways to help kind of get rid of some of that illegal dumping that you're talking about. But that's going to cost people a little bit more. So the question is really, are people satisfied with the current level of trash service? Seems like not really, based on what we're hearing. I mean, especially around things that are dumped on curbside. People want more. I think it's a bi-weekly schedule right now. Not enough. It seems like not frequently enough. And to what extent are you willing to pay for that a little bit? And to what Benson is speaking on is, does this increase in service create almost an expectation that you can dump places because it gets picked up more frequently? And how is the city going to increase enforcement of what's already on the books to prevent that if we're going to be improving service? Because as you're saying, bad actors are going to say, oh, the city of Detroit's picking this up. Cool. Okay. Bet I'll put it down in the corner. Councilwoman Mary Waters had a similar story where she was driving on, I can't remember if it was the Lodge or 94 or one of the freeways. And, somebody was wearing a yellow vest like they were a city worker, but they were driving north out of the city and dumped a bunch of trash outside their car, just like on the side of the freeway before they pulled up. And, she's talking about the kind of the frustration and the disrespect really that comes with that seeing people just using Detroit as a dumping ground.
Yeah.
So these contracts are going to be moving forward. The city's council is taking a little bit of time to kind of understand to what extent are people willing to pay for better, more frequent service. The Duggan administration has pitched raising annual garbage fees from $240 a year to $270. So it would go up by $10 every year for 3 years. The rest of the money, so basically it would cost an extra $12 million to do this. The rest of the money would come from the general fund, and it'd be about a 70-30 split. 70% of the money would come from the budget, 30% would come from an increase in people's garbage fees. Benson has also said it's important to kind of look at, we're putting more budget money toward trash pickup. That means that we're potentially not using that money for other things. So, budget season is coming up in the spring. I think the idea would be to get this contract out before then, but that's going to be part of all these conversations. Like, where's that money going to be coming from? What is it potentially taking things away from? Is this a high priority for people? So yeah, those conversations are going to be had. There's no vote scheduled on this yet, but
definitely. And with it, like I say, I mean, at the root of a lot of this stuff, it's such a difficult thing. It definitely involves community and more communication. I definitely can say, even when I dealt with the break-in that I had a couple years back, that a lot of people were like, wow, where things go. I can strongly urge that a key deterrent from a lot of the illegal dumping and things like that is making sure you do your, and I'm not trying to sound so kumbaya, but doing your part and making sure your grass is cut, your home looks occupied, and everything is together. Like even the home down the street that's at the corner, and I know people are using that for, definitely shelter in this time of like it being so cold. But it's been plywooded up. I want to say they've plywooded it up like 4 times. And then they open the plywood, you open the plywood. Now it's like, when you're looking for illegal dumping places, it's like, oh, right there, this place where the plywood is off to the side, where a person is trying to stay there because it's so cold. Like, it's a lot of other dominoes that impact things, especially in communities like mine. And the reality is, it's a lot of places and communities like mine throughout the city of Detroit, or like blocks and streets. So some of the best deterrents towards this is keeping it clean, and then also me building a relationship with, like, as you say, like as the renter class, like, renters, when they move out and are evicted, I've seen, especially across where like it's an empty lot, people feel like, oh, we can just go, the whole way. Where I'm eyeballing a cubic yard, I know that ain't no cubic yard, and it'll continue to fester. Like, what can be done? It could be a lot.